Mary had a little lamb.
False. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Overnight, the fourth Republican presidential debate devolving into a four-way brawl, with Nikki Haley and the absent Donald Trump taking most of the punches. Chris Christie calling out his fellow candidates for ignoring their party's dominant frontrunner.
He's the one who, as you just put it, is way ahead in the polls. And yet, I've got these three guys who are all seemingly to compete with, Voldemort, he who shall not be named. They don't want to talk about it.
Christie also asked about this Trump comment.
He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, no, other than day one.
This is an angry, bitter man who now wants to be back as president because he wants to exact retribution on anyone who has disagreed with him. Do I think he was kidding when he said he was a dictator? All you have to do is look at the history.
But with Mr. Trump fundraising in Florida overnight and refusing to take part in a single debate, it's been Nikki Haley who's seen a rise in both momentum and money.
And in terms of these donors that are supporting me, they're just jealous. They wish that they were supporting them.
Haley fending off increasingly personal attacks from Ron DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy.
Nikki will cave to those big donors when it counts. The only person more fascist than the Biden regime now is Nikki Haley.
I love all the attention, fellas. Thank you for that.
Haley later brushing off Ramaswamy when he called her corrupt.
Would you like to respond?
No. It's not worth my time to respond to him.
With the frontrunner absent, the night often marked by personal attacks.
Chris, your version of foreign policy experience was closing a bridge from New Jersey to New York.
Yeah.
So do everybody a favor. Just walk yourself off that stage, enjoy a nice meal, and get the hell out of this race.
Christie also mocking DeSantis for refusing to directly answer a question about Mr. Trump's fitness for office.
We do not want to do someone
You're talking about him being 80 years old.
It doesn't mean that somebody couldn't get elected. That's up to the people that
Governor DeSantis, let him
is he
finish.
fit or isn't he?
I think we have an opportunity.
I can't hear you. Holy crap, man. So today is it's Pearl Harbor Day, but there was more noisy bombs being dropped on that stage there in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, than there ever was in Honolulu. I mean, honest to God, these people are so, it was the children's table. The problem with that party is there is no adults table. And the person, they were behaving as if one of those four people were going to be the nominee from the Republican national, primary, that one of those people was going to emerge victorious and get the nomination from the Republican Party. That is not going to happen. The person who is going to get the nomination from the Republican, whatever you want to call it, is it a part? I don't know what it is. It's a cult. Was not on that stage last night because he's a giant baby. That's what I'm saying. There is no adults table in this particular arena. Donald Trump today is in court, trying to maintain his ability to do business in New York. His stomping grounds, his home where he supposedly made his fake fortune. It's so interesting that he says, he can't campaign because of all these court cases. That's what, the Biden administration is doing to him. They're keeping him off the campaign trail. Well, he didn't show up last night. That was part of the case. And today he's sitting in court and he doesn't have to be there. This is such garbage. It's so bad. It's so amazingly, disgraceful. What is passing as the grand old party. What is actually, making its way into people's, voting behavior as being a viable choice for America. Now, the insults got Vivek, he body shamed. I'm sorry.
Oh, what a class act, as always.
It was just a bunch of kids having a food fight is what it was. It was like, a food fight around the bigger baby that didn't even show up, that wouldn't even bring his choice to play. He wouldn't even come to the party. He wouldn't even attend. He wouldn't. It's like he got the invitation, and he didn't RSVP. He didn't anything, and then didn't even send a gift. Okay, because he's a giant classless baby man. They're all disgusting, all of them. And, listen, I get, Chris Christie trying to, warning Will Robinson, warning, he's a bitter old bastard. Okay, I get it. He's going to use, if he should ever get near the levers of power again, he's going to use it to get retribution against anybody who stood against him, anybody who voted against him, anybody who spoke against him, anybody who had a media, outlet that didn't cover him glowingly. So, you could kiss CNN goodbye, you could kiss MSNBC goodbye. This man does not believe in the Constitution. In fact, he said he would get rid of it. He doesn't believe in freedom of the press, let alone freedom of speech. No. And God help us if we live in a blue state, right, everybody? God help you. Do you really think that your federal government, with him at the top of it, would ever send a nickel or a dime or share a tax credit, with a state that didn't send all of its electors to be certified on January 6th for him? No, hell no. So, there's a lot to think about here with regard to what this man represents. But he is a bitter old bastard. I mean, there's no question about it. But being warned about Donald Trump by Chris Christie is tantamount to like being warned about Jeffrey Dahmer by Ted Bundy. Do you know what I'm saying? And to listen to Vivek, he's Pennywise. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, he's like when you look at him, and this is what I learned from one great lunch that I had with who wrote Penny
King.
Yeah,
King.
Stephen King.
Yeah.
And the greatest thing that I walked away from that lunch with was his philosophy of like, how does he come up with these horror stories? And he said, you just think of what is the worst thing that could ever happen and write that. Okay. So that's why I'm saying Vivek is Pennywise, because when it comes to clowns, the worst result is Pennywise. And that is who Vivek was last night. He was a clown. He was a clown that played low. I mean, the level of low. I mean, there's not. I used to say spit on the belly of the snake was about as low as you could get. This man found a way to get lower. He really did. He found a way to get lower. Honest to God, and being told about danger ahead for our democracy by Pennywise there was really offensive. I mean, it wasn't just obscene. It was really offensive. Really offensive. And the people in that audience were going, I like that man. They were. And it's just, I mean, he went full on conspiracy theory, full on bigotry, full on racism, full on anti-Semitism, full on, you name it, Vivek went there. He went there.
All three of them have been licking Donald Trump's boots for years for money and endorsements. Ron DeSantis, you've been a great governor, but you would have never been one without actually begging Donald Trump for that endorsement.
And you attacked him in your book a year ago.
Same thing with Chris Christie as a lobbyist, begging them for COVID money for his special interests in New Jersey, prepping him for the debates last time around. These people are now Monday morning quarterbacking some decision he made. I think the real enemy is not Donald Trump. It's not even Joe Biden. It is the deep state that at least Donald Trump attempted to take on. And if you want somebody who's going to speak truth to power, then vote for somebody who's going to speak the truth to you. Why am I the only person on the stage, at least, who can say that January 6th now does look like it was an inside job?
What?
That the government lied to us for 20 years about Saudi Arabia's involvement in 9/11. That the Great Replacement theory is not some grand right-wing conspiracy theory, but a basic statement of the Democratic Party's platform. That the 2020 election was indeed stolen by big tech. That the 2016 election, the one that Trump won for sure, was also one that was stolen from him by the national security establishment that actually put up the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that they knew was false. There's a reason why I'm the only person on the stage who can say these things. That's what it's going to take, not people who are licking his boots one time and now Monday morning quarterbacking him and criticizing him when it's convenient.
Meet the new vice presidential candidate. Meet him. That's what he was doing there last night. He invoked every horrific, stereotypical, bigoted thing he could.
All things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for
for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
We're talking about that trans issue. And Nikki Haley's campaign launch video sounded like a woke Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light ad talking about how she would kick in heels. At the first debate, she said that only a woman can get this job done. That's what she said. After the third debate, when I criticized Ronna McDaniel after 5 failed years of leadership of this party and criticized Nikki for her corrupt foreign dealings as a military contractor, she said that I have a woman problem. Nikki, I don't have a woman problem. You have a corruption problem. And I think that that's what people need to know. Nikki is corrupt. This is a woman who will send your kids to die so she can buy a bigger house. This is the problem. Using identity politics more effectively than Kamala Harris is a form of intellectual fraud. And it actually needs to end. There's our donor puppet masters wielding their puppet right up here tonight. This is how this game is played. The puppet masters put up their puppet, and I reject the use of identity politics in this party. It has been a cancer coming from the left, and I'm sick and tired of the double standards the people of this country are too. Having 2 X chromosomes does not immunize you from criticism.
Really,
Republican, Democrat, Independent, we all have to be sick of him talking at this point, right? Just hearing him is getting old. I don't care what your politics are.
In a world full of Viveks, be a Jayapal. In a world full of Ramaswamis, be a Kamala. Do you know what I'm saying? He's so obnoxious. He is so unaware. Literally talking about white, replacement theory. Does the man not have a mirror and realize he is not the preferred melanin content carrier? I mean, why is he so deaf, dumb, and blind to the insults that they are, I know you are, but what am I kind of a thing? It's so gross. It's speaking of the trans issue, and he brought props, okay? He brought a piece of paper that said Nikki's. I mean, it is so painful to watch the race to the bottom that is that party. It took my breath away, really. And this thing was long. It was long. This went on and on and on and on. I think it was like 2 hours. It was really stinking long. And it was just one insult and one group singled out for pillorying or for insulting or for bigotry. One group after another, after another, after another, after another. If it wasn't the Jews and Soros, and, Soros is sending in the immigrants to replace white people, being told to you by Pennywise the clown there, who is so unaware of the fact that he is Pennywise the clown. And if he looks in the mirror and he sees, whiteface, it's because it's pancake. Okay? I mean, the world does not see you as being, spareable in your GOP, Vivek. Then they started with the trans issue, and Nikki, listen, she was as grotesque as the attacks by all these guys were. She used her femininity, she used her feminine wiles to say, "Oh, gee, thanks for all the attention, fellas." It was like, a scene out of, a Philadelphia Story. It was very cute, very adorable. But honest to God, man, it was like she couldn't get down in the mud, faster, fast enough. She had to trash trans kids too, and she had to trash, hormone blockers and jump on the bandwagon of faux science about, hormone blockers are permanent and you can't reverse. I mean, it was just so ill-informed. It was just so bad. It was so ugly. It was just big tech was his way of not getting sued by apparently Smartmatic and Dominion. I don't know. Everybody's attacking, Donald Trump in Vivek's world. Everybody. And Vivek is there to protect that tub of lard from, the slings and arrows of the likes of Chris Christie and Nikki Haley. And then, let's just remember for a brief moment here that Nikki Haley was, like it or not, she was the UN ambassador. She was the United States ambassador to the United Nations. And Vivek decided to, do this.
So foreign policy experience is not the same as foreign policy wisdom. I want everybody at home to note that I was the first person to say we need a reasonable peace deal in Ukraine. Now a lot of the neocons are quietly coming along to that position, with the exceptions of Nikki Haley and Joe Biden, who still support this, what I believe is pointless war in Ukraine. And I think those with foreign policy experience, one thing that Joe Biden and Nikki Haley have in common is that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in eastern Ukraine that they want to send our troops to actually fight for.
Oh, my God.
Look at that. This is what I want people to understand. These people have, I mean, she has no idea what the hell the names of those provinces are, but she wants to send our sons and daughters and our troops and our military equipment to go fight it. So reject this myth that they've been selling you, that somebody had a cup of coffee stint at the UN and then makes $8 million after, has real foreign policy experience. It takes an outsider to see this through. Look at the blank expression. She doesn't know the names of the provinces that she wants to actually fight for. And there's her puppet masters right there, the donors right there that are playing her like the puppet masters.
I think he means oblasts, not provinces. I don't know. But this is so disgusting. He is so vile. He literally is a big pharma bro who lied to a bunch of senior citizens, used his mother, who has the position of geriatric psychiatrist, bought a drug that he knew did not work, but it was, for sale at a very, very low price because it had failed multiple trials, okay? Multiple. It wasn't effective. It didn't work for Alzheimer's, but his mother was a geriatric psychiatrist. She rejiggered the words in the results of the clinical trials that it did not pass muster for, bought this thing at a low price, and then tried to elevate the price by having his mother say, the possibility is good if we did one more clinical trial and we used a different, it could work, and got a fortune invested through fraudulent means for a drug that eventually did fail again. But he kept the money. I mean, this is the guy that's going to lecture people who actually did spend their time in public service. Now, I mean, he could have argued the United Nations is broken, could have made that claim, but instead he decided to make it personal against her. And she's too stupid to know how to say Kharkiv. She's too stupid to know that it's not a province. And I don't know if he's talking about regions or oblasts. Just so gross, just so disgusting. And this is how low he has to go in order to stay in Donald Trump's good graces. Because this is what Vivek Ramaswamy is doing. He's auditioning to be Donald Trump's Veep. That's the job he wants. I'm not sure, what that would, how that would put money in his pocket, but I think it probably has something to do with, intelligence briefings. Dude, really, this is what he's doing. He's trying to be Trump when the big baby wouldn't show up. So he's being insulting and he's being denigrating and he's invoking all these racist tropes just to show Donald Trump, I will do it. I will go there. I will say these things. I will be your retribution. I will, I'll go after these 3 for you. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.